9,000 years before the first stone was laid for the Egyptian pyramids, a civilization of immense wealth and power sat on the coast. Then, in a single day and night, the ocean swallowed it whole. For over 2 millennia, explorers and scientists have scoured the globe looking for the wreckage. They have found absolutely nothing. Not a single coin, not a single weapon or foundation stone. Yet recent advances in deep-sea mapping and marine archaeology have proven something compelling. Entire, documented ancient cities genuinely have vanished beneath the waves. Since we know urban centers can actually be lost to the ocean, the search for this ancient superpower becomes a matter of geography and forensic science. Every detail we have about Atlantis traces back to exactly one man, writing at exactly one time, the Greek philosopher Plato in the year 360 BC. Plato claimed he didn't invent the story. He wrote that it was passed down through a very specific chain of memory, beginning with Egyptian priests, traveling through generations of Greek statesmen, and finally reaching his own family. He detailed a wealthy, arrogant empire, punished by earthquakes and floods. But the dialogue where this civilization takes center stage, Critias, stops abruptly mid-sentence. The ending is simply blank. This leaves us with a 2,000-year-old cold case. We have to determine if this unfinished manuscript is a distorted record of real events or a political allegory that people took too literally. This diagram illustrates Plato's description, a capital built as mathematically precise concentric rings of land and water. The outer rings feature irrigated agricultural grids, while the center relies on an engineered network of hot and cold plumbing. Online forums often add flying vehicles or crystal power sources to this description. None of that exists in Plato's original text. Those are modern science fiction concepts layered onto an ancient story. The original blueprint is grounded in realistic civil engineering, harbors, bridges, and irrigation. It reads like a description of a highly functioning Bronze Age society, which is exactly why researchers continue looking for it. Around 1600 BC, the island of Santorini exploded in one of the most violent volcanic eruptions in recorded history. This map shows the catastrophic aftermath. A massive shockwave and subsequent tsunamis radiated across the Aegean Sea, sweeping directly over the nearby island of Crete and decimating the Minoan civilization. Beneath layers of volcanic ash, archaeologists excavated multi-story buildings, working drainage systems, and paved streets, revealing a highly organized society that had been buried alive. The Minoans commanded vast trade networks and a dominant navy that projected power across the Mediterranean, closely mirroring Plato's description of a massive Atlantean fleet. An aggressive, advanced maritime empire wiped out by sudden geological violence fits the core criteria perfectly. It suggests the Atlantis legend is actually the true history of the Minoan collapse, distorted by 1,000 years of oral storytelling. In the Western Sahara Desert sits the Richat structure, a massive geological formation that bears a striking visual resemblance to Plato's concentric rings. This cross-section demonstrates how the formation actually developed. It is a natural geologic dome pushed upward by volcanic activity and sheared flat by millions of years of wind and water erosion. There is no ancient masonry, no tools, and no human engineering to be found. Without physical artifacts, a compelling pattern viewed from orbit remains a geological coincidence. Others search the mid-Atlantic ridge. Because we have mapped the surface of Mars in higher resolution than the depths of our own oceans, the idea of a submerged continent holds a certain appeal. However, after decades of targeted sonar sweeps and deep-sea submersible expeditions, researchers have yet to identify a single sunken architectural structure in the open Atlantic. That leads to a highly popular alternative theory, an ancient civilization buried beneath the thick ice sheets of Antarctica, built before the continent froze. This timeline tracks the paleoclimate of the southern pole. It shows that Antarctica has been locked under solid ice for millions of years, long before the earliest human ancestors ever walked the Earth. The darkest depths of the ocean and impenetrable ice sheets provide excellent cover for a mystery, but hard geological data and mapping continuously rule them out as viable locations. The reason researchers continue to investigate is that history holds a long track record of proving skeptics wrong about ancient texts. For centuries, the city of Troy was dismissed as a fictional battlefield from a famous poem. Then, archaeologists dug directly into a hill in Turkey and uncovered its massive defensive walls exactly where the legends placed it. Similarly, the sprawling stone terraces of Machu Picchu sat hidden in the Andes Mountains, unknown to the outside world until the early 20th century. These discoveries establish a clear precedent. Beneath layers of exaggeration and myth-making, ancient stories frequently protect a core of undeniable historical truth. Since the end of the last ice age, global sea levels have risen roughly 120 meters. Vast stretches of fertile land where early humans lived and built are now buried under the ocean. Today, marine archaeologists are routinely discovering actual submerged settlements, stone terraces, and harbors off the coasts of Japan, India, and the Mediterranean. We are left with three possibilities. Atlantis is either a fractured cultural memory of the Minoans, a genuine sunken civilization still waiting to be found, or nothing more than a brilliant philosophical warning. Until we have a definitive answer, the investigation remains open. Tell me in the comments where you think the evidence points, because the greatest historical discoveries often begin with someone refusing to accept a myth as the final answer.